Joined now by former Bills center Mitch Morse for From the Armchair, presented by Raymore and Flanagan. Raymore and Flanagan is a proud partner of the Buffalo Bills. And, well, Mitch, the game was a laugher. The Jets set a record for most consecutive losses by 20 points or more with 5 in a row to finish the season. Yeah. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about what was on display on Sunday. And I know, being a former offensive lineman yourself, you had to have a little dose of pride, I would imagine, as to how the offensive line performed in this game, knowing Osiris Torrance was the only guy from the starting lineup on the field.
Chris, what was interesting was absolutely I was filled with pride, immense pride, especially those young dudes who were just getting in there when I was there, who have kind of gone through the maturation process of being there for a few years now, have had their number called a few times. I think that Pittsburgh Steelers game when two guys came in and performed admirably, but I think just the offensive line performance on for the reserves on Sunday was just kind of the tip of the iceberg for what we saw from the rest of the crew, right? You had guys who had maybe some playing time here, but their number was called for the whole game. And yes, there was an injury here too. You can't mitigate those completely, but I just like what we saw from guys who might be called upon to have major reps in the playoffs if something goes awry. And to have that last game and to have that recall of those plays to be pretty close to when your number might be called is hugely important. And then the guy who really stood out to me as fine tuning his craft was Mitchell Trubisky. The guy went out there, performed beautifully, and that's what you want to see out of your backup quarterback.
And I've been saying this a lot, and I don't know if it's coming across to people that are getting tired of me saying it. How fun was it? You can imagine what Connor McGovern and Deion Dawkins and Spencer Brown and those guys are standing up there think about taking pride in it. You've been busting a gut for 4.5, 5 months with these guys, and they finally get a chance to go out and play and to see them play like that. There's nothing more fun than that in a game where you're throttling your opponent and you're seeing your guys going out there and having fun, and you get a day off.
Steve, spoken beautifully from a guy who's probably been there. I mean, who has been there, done that. Good Lord, it's just seeing it's not only your friends,
right?
The guys who you've called upon. Your backups are often the guys that you have banter with the most. Sometimes you have back and forth about how you're going to play a game, and then you just get to see them have that opportunity. And yes, there's so much pressure on some of these guys that they put on themselves for this one opportunity to go and show out. And to see everyone have that celebration, right? To have that day, it just felt fluid, and you could feel the energy from those guys. And then running to the sideline, just the adulation between the guys. It was so much fun to see. And I think it was a perfect way to cap off the 53 years that Highmark Stadium, or the old Highmark Stadium, has been housing that football team.
So let's spin it forward to Bills-Jags, wild card week here. Two of the last teams for whom you played. And, I would assume you've got a little bit of inside track on what the Bills could be facing this week. Defense kind of jumps out at you because they are the number one run defense in the league, just 85 yards on the ground allowed. So it's going to be strength on strength. What is most impressive in your eyes about what the Jags can do with their defensive run-stopping ability? Where do they what pops on tape?
Yeah, the defensive coordinator, Anthony Campanelli, is just really put together. He's married two schemes of kind of like the Brian Flores of you're going to show you a bunch of different stuff, and then the physical nature of, say, I would say his past, which was the Green Bay Packers. Like, he's just got a great scheme, and he's got a young defense that bought around it. He's got a defensive line with some proven veterans who are playing very well. Statistics aren't going to slam you in the face. Like, Josh Hines Allen leads the team with 8 sacks, but he also is second in the league with pressure rate. You have Devon Hamilton, maybe the most unsung hero of that defense at nose tackle, helping solidify that run defense. You have a young cornerback group with Antonio Johnson, who is tied with another linebacker, Devin Lloyd, who they both lead the team with 5 interceptions apiece, right? They take away the ball. And then at the helm, the guy who gets the whole thing going is Foyesade Oluokun, who's led the team with 146 tackles. It's his sixth season with over 100 tackles. And just being in the locker room with that guy, he is the heart and soul of that defense. He's a great teammate, great dude. When he's flying around making plays, which he has been, this defense is a real treat to watch when you're not playing. I mean, it's an opposing team. It'll be a great challenge. Like you said, good on good, immense run game with the Bills, and a really tight-knit defensive front that really stops that, that front seven that stops the run for the Jaguars.
And we were looking at the schedule, and it's interesting because the Bills, going all the way back, I don't know, what is it, a month maybe, they had a game in Pittsburgh, but the last game they had that was really nice was at Miami. That was in Week 10. So they've been at Pittsburgh. They had Cincinnati here in a snow game. They were at New England in a rain game. They were at Cleveland, a cold. Philly here was the worst possible weather game you can have. It was cold and pouring, and I mean pouring rain. And then this last week against the Jets, going down to Jacksonville may be a breath of fresh air for everybody, including the players who get to play on real grass in the sunshine.
70 degrees.
70 degrees. It does make a difference for these playoff games when there's a little bit of a burden let up off maybe even the visiting team.
Oh, there's a reprieve. Listen, no one likes to make too much of the weather, like real football folks, but it does play huge. I mean, talk about mental warfare playing in cold game after cold game. Your joints are hurting, but when you step off the field, or you step off the plane, rather, there's a little bit of humidity in the air. It's going to help. There's going to be a little overcast, so the sun won't be beaming. The boys won't need their sunscreen on, but it will be nice and humid and about 70 degrees. And the thing about Jacksonville is that the stadium's inland about 20 miles, so It doesn't quite get the ocean breeze, but it'll be a great environment to play football. I think just being around here, seeing the heartbeat of Jacksonville right now, there's a lot of hype around this game, as there should be. I mean, if you did not have any skin in this game, objectively, you look at it, this is clash between two titans, maybe one of the best games of the year, and there's excitement. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Right.
Yeah. Looking at the two quarterbacks, Trevor Lawrence has just one less touchdown than Josh, 39-38 there. I did find it interesting that Josh's numbers are pretty superior to that of Lawrence on third down and in the fourth quarter. His completion percentage is like 10% higher on third down than Lawrence, and it's 20% higher in the fourth quarter. How do you think that could come into play, even though Lawrence has had what amounts to a breakout season?
Yeah, talking about clash of two titans, you're talking about two guys who are playing at this moment incredible football for their ball clubs, shouldering a lot of weight and expectations and performing admirably. When I look at the Jaguars, they're coming out with these huge leads early, right? And it's because have these explosive plays. They have two receivers who are averaging over 10 yards per carry. I think Parker Washington's averaging about 15 yards per carry, so they can get the ball down the field. They're playing well with these huge leads in front. The thing about Trevor is that he's an old man in a young man's body. He's a 40-year-old man in a young man's body. And I mean that with his poise. This is the same guy 3 years ago who was down 27 in the wild card round and at halftime came back and won 31-30 against the Chargers. He knows how to win in these big games. The thing the Bills have in their favor is that they've been there, done that in regards to playoff games. And yes, Josh hasn't gotten over the hump for that road playoff game, but it's not because of how he's played. He's played about as lights out as you possibly can in the playoffs. So it's just going to be two Titans, two quarterbacks who are playing tremendous football right now. And yeah, besides that, it's just going to be a hoot and a half to watch, dude.
What do you think? How does this game look? Does it, because it looks, when you're looking at these two quarterbacks, it looks like 44-41, let's go. Or it could be, a 10-7, it's over in 2.5 hours, and, it's like that. I mean, what's more likely?
I would say the former. I think both teams are going to come out. Now, that being said, the last few outings besides the one that I was a part of with Jacksonville got blown out in Highmark. This has usually been a pretty tight scoring, a huge defensive outings for both ball clubs. That being said, the thing that sticks out to me and I can't stop thinking about is the special teams. The kicking game for this outing is going to be tremendously important. I think the health of Matt Prater's at the premium for the Bills. And on the other side, their long snapper, punter, and kicker are all Pro Bowl caliber levels in Jacksonville. It's going to come down to a big moment, a big kick in this game. I just have a gut feeling about it. And it'll be fireworks, dude. I'm so excited for this game. Of course, I got skin in the game, but it's electric. It's what you want in playoff football.
Oh, yeah.
Bills have really, as you mentioned, not been very successful on the road in the playoffs. They haven't won a road playoff game since 1992 when Steve's guys won the AFC title game down in Miami. That's like a daunting statistic. You were with this club in 2019 when they had to start the playoff run on the road, and you guys unfortunately watched a 16-8 lead evaporate before losing in overtime. How do you think the veterans on this team can best equip the younger guys for a road playoff atmosphere that have been there and done that?
Yes, great question. The thing that I've found even later in my careers, but especially in the beginning of my careers, you're on this playoff team, but it's been a trying season, right? It's easy to catch yourself escaping mentally with the future on what's going to happen after games or whatever. But I would say just locking in on the present moment, not making it more important than it is. You have the keys to success. You understand what's gotten you to this level. You have the script. Stick to it, double down on it. Don't make it too important. Yes, you're going to hit adversity. You might hit huge adversity on Sunday, but you have a veteran group and you got a guy at the helm who knows what he's doing. So don't panic. Take it one play at a time. And just let the chips fall where they may. Be free. You're in Florida, 70 degrees. Go nuts. Have some fun, dude. Just see where the chips fall, because that's all you can do.
Now, one of the things about this game, and when you're ever in these big playoff games, do or die situations where you win or go home, one thing it's really you desire to do is take something the other team is counting on away. One of the things that has driven the success of the Jaguars defense is their ability to churn turnovers out. Bills have been beneficiaries of that of their own defense last year in particular. If the Bills come in and don't turn it over and they can continue to get ball security, you would think that with the leading rusher in the NFL and the defending MVP in the NFL, you should be able to get to 20 points or so, or 25 points, that kind of thing. You're going to have enough possessions to figure it out and score enough points. But ball security is one of those things that really tilts the game one way or the other. And in this respect, you got to give it to the Jaguars. Even though you consider it an unpredictable stat, you got to tilt that in favor of the Jaguars going into the game anyway.
Steve, that's a great point. I would say efficiency over explosiveness in this game is going to be the formula for success for both teams, honestly. Of course, the Jags on offense feast more on these big shots, but it's going to come down to the turnover battle. Josh has shown over and over again in the playoffs 25 touchdowns to 4 interceptions and turnovers, and then Trevor's had 1 interception in the last 8 games. It's just going to come down to who makes the least amount of mistakes. And these two ball clubs are playing at an extremely high level. I would say, Steve, to that point, it's a very good point. Don't be too sexy. It's okay to just be a little cautious. Of course, still go win the game. Do what you have to do, but turnovers, limit those. That's the premium.
Yeah.
Mitch, thanks for the time as always. We hopefully are talking about a happy result next week.
Absolutely, boys. I appreciate you having me on.
Thanks,
all right,
Mitch.
That's Mitch Morse joining us for his From the Armchair segment presented by Raymore and Flanagan.